Hello everyone and welcome back. It's 11:20, which means it's whole school assembly time. It's Thursday, the 9th of April 2020. The sun is still shining outside. It's another beautiful day across Dorset. Good to see that lots of people are joining us this morning and tuning in for our whole school assembly. Thank you to those of you who joined us for this morning's Good Morning Power broadcast. It was lovely to see Emily and Alice pop up and have a chat with them, and also a few other people saying hello as well. If you're here today, do put a comment in the comment box. We love to see who's listening and who's watching along at home, because we have a very special guest joining us this morning, another mystery guest at the Prince of Wales School Whole School Assembly. Let's say good morning today to Jane Hurdis. Good morning, Jane.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Mr Spracklen. Good morning, Prince of Wales children.
And I should say welcome back.
Here again. Yeah.
Welcome back, Jane. It's good to have you with us again.
Lovely to be here again, and thank you. Hello, children. I hope you're still staying happy and busy and safe. And as Mr Spracklen says, the sun is shining, so you've got some space outside. Make the best of it. Now, you remember? Hopefully, you'll remember last week I came and read you my story, ready for my new book. I really hope you enjoyed it. From your lovely comments, some of you have, and I'm still open to you sending in drawings of what you think Giddy the goat may look like. So please carry on with that. Anyway, you may also remember that I told you that in January I went to Kenya in Africa with a lovely group of people, and we went to a community in the countryside at the bottom of Mount Kenya, quite a poor community. And we went to visit schools and families out there, had a wonderful time. And this morning, I really am looking forward to sharing some photos with you, and I'll tell you a little bit about them as we go. So thanks, Mr. Spracklen. If we put the photos up, we can have a look. Here we are. Here's the first one. Now we went to visit families, and you can see in this photo there's 7 people, and they all lived in that little wooden building behind, which is probably about the same size as your front room or kitchen. There they are, from granddad right down to baby. Thank you. Oh, a cow. Now, we have dogs and cats as pets, don't we? They don't understand that in Africa. Most families, however poor, have a cow, obviously to give them milk, and they look after it. And just to tell you, children, don't be worried. He hasn't got his head stuck. The cows are very well looked after. Okay? Now, look at these lovely little children with their smiley faces. And just to tell you that the children out there are so happy and smiley, and they don't have anything. They don't have rooms full of lovely toys like you do. They don't have footballs and TVs and computers. But look at their lovely smiles. They're just absolutely wonderful. This is the area behind their house. Now, look at the trees here. Now, these are mangoes. Some of you might like to eat mangoes and know mangoes. Now, how lovely these were to pick them straight off the tree and eat them fresh. That was fantastic. And can you see in the background, bananas growing? And look at, that's interesting how bananas grow. They grow upside down. Can you see that? They grow bottoms pointing up. But fantastic. You can imagine the fresh fruit we had to eat. That was lovely. Oh, pineapples now. I wonder how many of you thought pineapples grew on trees. Now, they grow in the ground like this on their own in a single plant. And I learned that how you find out a pineapple is ripe, you pull one of those leaves out of the top, and if the leaf is white at the bottom, the pineapple is ripe. So I went picking pineapples. And they were luscious. There's my friends with arms full of pineapples. They're very prickly too when you pick them. Oh, this little boy is lovely. And we went to visit a school for blind children or partially blind children. And this little boy, they loved having their picture taken. And he was giggling and wanted his picture taken. And I thought it was such a nice picture. So he was really chuffed that I took his picture. Oh, here's some lovely little children. I don't know if the video is going to work. Yes, it is. They're reception class children. Now look how smart they all are, because I'm going to tell you that some of these little children, they don't arrive in cars to school. They walk, some of them, miles down dusty roads to school. And they start school at 7:30, not 9 o'clock like you. They start at 7:30. So can you imagine what time they've got to leave home? And they're all off. I'll tell you where they're going because you'll be interested in that. They're going to the toilet before lunch. Now, I don't know if it's on the next one. No, I think we've missed one. Let me just tell you something interesting about toilets. Oh, there they are. Now, that's their toilets down the bottom there in those wooden buildings. By the way, look at the beautiful surroundings. In England, wouldn't we give our right arm for surroundings like that? Beautiful. Now, their toilets are called long drops. They don't flush and all those sort of wonderful things that we do. There's just a big hole in the ground. So these little children, off they go before lunch. Now they're coming back for their lunch. Can we go back to that one before, Mr. Spracklen? Because I wanted to show you this, because this is the lunchtime supervisor cooking the lunch. And in that massive container is called a giko. And in there, there's maize and rice and beans, all stirred up, ready for the children to have a healthy lunch. Okay, thanks. Now, here's a lovely reception class where I spent quite a bit of time. And all these little children, they have a very bare classroom. They don't have lovely classrooms like you've got at the Prince of Wales with wonderful resources and colours. They have a very few books and tables and chairs and a blackboard at the front. Can you see those mugs in their hands? For their morning break, they don't have a fruit break. They have a big mug of what they call sour porridge. It's very salty porridge, which wasn't to my taste, but it's a very healthy snack for them. And for some of them, that snack and the lunch they have at school might be all they eat that day. So it's really important that they have that. Just a little girl. Here's a little girl called Sophia in another school, looking very smart. There we are. I was in my element, surrounded by them all. Look how happy they all are. And they're having their snack. Now, you might notice some of them have got knitted balaclavas on. Oops, back we go a minute. And woolen jumpers. And you can see from me in the middle, it was actually quite warm out there. But of course, out there, later in the year, it gets really, really hot. So some of them were feeling the cold here, which was quite hard to understand. I had a great time there. I taught them head, shoulders, knees, and toes. They loved that. Oh, here's a little girl practicing, because out there the ladies carry their babies around them in a sling. You don't see them walking around. There's no buggies or prams. And she's practicing with her dolly. So she's got it wrapped around her neck, practicing for when she's grown up. And here's a lovely lady with an older child with all such beautiful, colourful clothes. And that's her little shop behind her. A lot of them have got little shops by the side of the road. This was lovely. We went to another school and I went with about 17 other volunteer people and we set up a fun day, a bit like your sports days. And we arranged all these activities like egg and spoon race and three-legged race and throwing hoops. And these children all had the most wonderful day. And so did we, but we did get very hot. Now I wanted to show you a few here because at the end of my time there, we had a very special treat. We went on safari. Wow, what an experience to see these wonderful animals up close. So there's a beautiful elephant. And look how close we are able to get to them. And giraffes, when you see them in real life up close, the pattern on their coats is absolutely amazing. Oh, I loved this giraffe. This giraffe was very curious, looking down at us as if to say, "What are you doing here?" Oh, there's a lovely lady doing what I said, carrying her baby in her sling. And the people out there love to be photographed. Beautiful giraffe. It's absolutely lovely. No, we were very lucky to see this lion because there weren't many lions about that day. He just crossed the road and I managed to get a picture. There he is again. Now, the elephants are wonderful family creatures. They always gather in families. Look at that little one. Can you see the little one in the middle? Oh, just back a minute. That's right. That little one in the middle is apparently only about 2 or 3 months old. Can you see how they're all looking after it? And on the next one, there's one helping the little one across the road. Now, if we saw an elephant crossing the road, we had to keep right back because it's their land and we were the guests, so we had to respect that. Now you can see from this one, look at the vehicles. Those are the kind of vehicles that we travelled round in, like trucks where the roof lifted up so we could see the animals better. And you can see how close we were able to get. Now, it was all very safe, but we were told that if an elephant starts flapping his ears and trumpeting and looking a bit agitated, it was probably a good idea just to move on a bit quickly. So we definitely took that advice. Another lovely elephant. Ah, now look at this monkey. This was the doorstep of the place we stayed when we were on safari. Now we had to be so careful to shut our doors because these monkeys got inside some people's rooms and they would take things, take anything at all. People lost handkerchiefs and clothes and all sorts of things. So we had to be really careful because once the monkey's taken it, that's it. And the zebra, I didn't see many zebra, but we're lucky to catch that one. Another giraffe looking through the trees. Ah, no, this is interesting. This is a tribe called the Samburu tribe, near where we went to safari. These people live in a natural tribal village and they very kindly let us come and visit them. They did a dance for us, they sang to us, they welcomed us with open arms. And then at the end, we bought some jewellery that they made. If we look at the next one, I think, oh yes, now, some of you may have heard of a Maasai warrior. This is a Maasai warrior with his stick. And see the cloak he's got on? That is the traditional Maasai red check cloak the Maasai warriors wear. Ah, no, yes, the next one. These are the houses that that particular village live in. Now look at that. You can you see what it's made of? It's made of galvanized metal, sticks, and on the top, paper. It might look a bit like, some of you might make models from papier-mâché. It looks a bit like that, but because it's mostly dry, they don't need a cover. When it does rain, apparently they pull a big sheet over the top. And the families live inside that house. We all got to go in, which was very exciting. And it's not just the family that lives in there, it's their goats as well. There's the little school children. They're taught in the village until they're about 8 or 9, and then they go off to school. And they don't come back until they've finished their education. And there's a young Maasai warrior. There he is in his traditional robe. There's me with the school children, and there's the goat behind. And families out there, they haven't got a lot of money, but instead of money, they've got goats. So if a family's got a lot of goats, that means they're very rich. The goats are very important. Well, that's me just receiving some letters from one of the head teachers we went to visit. The children wrote some letters for me to bring back to England to give to school children here. Now I need to show you this little boy. He's called Gabriel. And when we went, you might remember him from that first picture. He lives in that family with 7 people. And when we went to meet him, he asked us for a dictionary. And we thought, what a lovely thing that was to ask for. He didn't ask for anything more because it's very important for the children out there to learn English because that gives them life chances when they get older. So this little boy really wanted to study his English because they get a chance then to possibly move out of their villages and maybe go on to colleges or university. So that's a picture of him. He was so chuffed with his dictionary. Oh, another little group of school children. And can you just see how smart they all are? They all make such an effort when you consider they've all walked miles from a very poor place. So they make such an effort with their uniform. Last one is just a picture of some goats. This is on the farm. We all stayed on a farm with local people, which was absolutely wonderful. And this is one of the helpers on the farm. This was the last picture. Thank you. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing those.
That's been absolutely wonderful to hear about your adventures, Jane, and to see all those fantastic photos. We've got a few people saying hello this morning. We've got the Scott family who are saying hello. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We have Kalani and Oscar who have enjoyed hunting for Lego this morning. That was one of our...
Well done, you two. Well done.
Lots of people saying hello. Mrs. Long has said that they're watching at the Prince of Wales School, back at school. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hello from Orson and Ursula who are watching. Thank you very much. We've got some questions here. The Scots say, can you remember what the names of all the children were?
Oh, no, that's an unfair question. I do remember some. Interestingly, they some of them have very English names, but some of them have names I wouldn't remember. But I do remember some of them. And I'll just tell you something about children. I actually am sponsoring 2 children that I met out there. So here's an example. One's called Blessing. So a lot of the girls have quite religious names like Blessing and Hope and Charity, which are really nice. So my little sponsored child is Blessing, and the boy's called Alexander. So there you can see the cross-section of English and natural names. But I don't remember them all, sorry.
Kalani asks, why do some children have no hair? Which I think is an interesting observation. I think it's clear to see some differences, Jane.
Well, a lot of them, we asked that question, and a lot of it is hygiene, keeps them clean, but also it's the heat. Because, I mean, later in the year, it's so hot, and a lot of the children had no hair for that reason.
Kalani asked another question about maybe sending books that they can read.
Oh, how lovely.
I suppose the question would be, how can we help? Would be a good...
I don't know if your school is already twinned with any schools in Africa, but if not, are they, Mr. Spracklen? Are you twinned?
No, we're not actually.
Well, in that case, we could have a wonderful opportunity here because, yes, there are schools out there waiting to be twinned with English schools. If you'd like me to talk to Mr. Spracklen, that would be the most wonderful opportunity. I can arrange for you to twin with a school in Kenya and exchange books, exchange letters, and have Kenyan pen friends.
I think that'd be a lovely thing to do, Jane. We'd be really up for that, I'm sure, at the Prince of Wales School. I'm sure those people watching would like to explore that for sure. Is that the first time you've been to Kenya, Jane?
First time, yes. I may be going back because it was just the sort of place I feel as though I got to know people. I got to know the teachers and the locals, and I want to go back and see them again. So I may go again next year.
Oh, fantastic. And it was that part of the project that's been happening in Dorset for a while now?
Yes, there's a Dorset project that has been happening for a while. That does the twinning of schools, and it's been happening for years since I was a head teacher. But now that I'm retired, I went out as a volunteer because I didn't get the chance before. But they help a lot of schools and they do an awful lot of work out there. So it's great to be part of it.
The Scots think that's a good idea. They said that would be wonderful.
Great. Oh, I'm looking forward to setting this up then.
We'll definitely get that happening. Jane, can I thank you so much for leading our assembly this morning? It's been lovely to hear about Kenya and to hear about your adventures, and it's been wonderful to welcome you back again. We wish you well, and we look forward to seeing you, no doubt, again in the future. And when you're back at school, you will have to come in and we'll set that Kenya link up for sure.
I'd love to do that. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone who's been watching. We'll see you all at 4 o'clock for our next broadcast for Today at POW. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.